Hi, it's Tracy from Two Rocks Tarot with Learn Lenormand with me. So this week's episode, today we will be looking at the Clover. So as you can see, I've got 4 different cards again. So I've got the Clover from Titania's Fortune cards. I've got the Clover from my own deck, the Australiana Lenormand. I've got the Clover from Ciro Machetti's Gilded Riviere and the Clover from the Album Lenormand by Alexandre Musruck. So as before, I'll always give you just, the everyday sort of meanings that are associated with the Clover card. So it's a lucky card, it's short-term luck, fleeting luck, and it's luck that needs to be acted on quickly. So if you got the gist that you are going to be offered a job, then make sure that you accept it. So don't take too long thinking about it. You need to take up that opportunity straight away, otherwise the luck is going to go to somebody else. The timing, the timing is either very soon, so it can be 2 to 3 days or up to 2 weeks. That's a kind of a gist to give you the time frame. However, like I said before, if it was for a job, I wouldn't take longer than 2 to 1 days even of accepting it if you're in sort of 2 minds, if you know what I mean. Just go for it. So if it falls beside the card that represents the client, so they're being protective. So if it comes besides the female or the male card, or whatever card that you have made the significator for that particular reading, if it falls besides it, then that means that you're being protected. Now, it's also a card about thinking positively, particularly if it comes next to negative cards. It has the power to dilute them. So if it comes next to the clouds, for instance, I've got these tiny little flies around here, little tiny miniature ones. I've got some potted plants and I think they've come in the soil, so yeah, they're quite annoying actually, but I don't like killing anything, so I let them fly around. So as I was saying, if it comes next to the clouds, it means that you should change your thoughts. Try and think happy, vibrant, positive thoughts. So basically changing your thought patterns to more positive ones. This combo also, so if you had the Clover card as representing a person, for instance, so this combo could also mean that the person who this card represents in your reading is being depressed. So this is kind of interesting because the way Titania's cards are read in the 9 squares, so you all know that I do a Sunday one and I read it differently. So when you're reading a Titania's Fortune cards, when it's got the 9 square, it's basically just reading straight across, straight down, and then diagonally. That's how it's done. So the first card of the 9 card spread always represents the person who's having the reading. So it doesn't matter what card it is. If it's the Clover, the Tower, clouds even, it doesn't matter. That is the card that will represent the person having the reading done. So I haven't actually read this way yet. I might actually do that so you can kind of get a gist on how it actually works. So that's what it means, that if it's if the Clover is the first card pulled in the 9 card square and that's representing yourself or your client, and it comes next to the clouds, it could mean that they are depressed, having negative thoughts and that sort of thing. All right, so having that changing your thought patterns to the more positive ones could be that cognitive, what is that? I think I pronounced that right. When you've got to change the way you think type of thing as well. That type of therapy could help them. Now, as health, it can represent, as I suppose I should say, not really health, but as a description of what a person might look like who is represented by the Clover. It can actually mean someone who's blonde, blue-eyed. Now I'm talking about this if it's Titania's card. So if it's the golden coloured Clover, blonde hair, blue eyes. If it was, say, my coloured Clover or any of the other ones which are actually green, it could have hazel green eyes to brown, still fair, reddish brown colouring. Okay. Now for health, because as it can represent people who are rather plump as well, issues with weight gain, stomach problems, or the digestive tract, swollen ankles are the things that this card can point to in a health reading. So really, when you're looking at this, I'm just looking at Titania's now. If you're looking at this card as a person, someone who's bright and happy and bubbly, unless it comes with a negative card. Even though this card can actually dilute negative cards. But if you've got this card as representing a person or your client, this is the kind of things that you have to look for. So when I think of the Clover, actually I think of my beautiful cousin Nettie. She was quite plump, and she was always laughing and happy. That's how I remembered her anyway. Unfortunately, she passed away, gosh, I think nearly 5 years ago, about 42 or something like that, from a brain aneurysm. But when I think of her as the Clover card, this you know, she was just sunny. She was just beautiful. She was a beautiful, beautiful person, and I miss her dearly. I really, really do. We got in contact after like a 20-year absence. She got in contact with me through my mum, and we were emailing each other. And then I lost her, just, you know, and you know, that's kind of funny to think about the Clover being fleeting, because, you know, it was such a fleeting getting back together and getting in touch and enjoying each other's company. And I think we only exchanged about 6 emails, and then she was gone. So, you know, there is that. Actually, the more I think about that Clover card, the more how it just represented her to a T. She was just a beautiful, bubbly, bright person. So, as before, we'll go through each card and how to read them intuitively. So I've discussed the Titania's card quite a lot. But if you're looking at timing, because it's very, very pink, I know when I get up early in the morning in Two Rocks, it's going to be a nice day. The sky is a beautiful blush of pink. You know, it's just a beautiful, beautiful pink colour that looks like that. And it gets a little bit darker before it disperses into the bright, beautiful day that it is. So that would be like an early morning type of a timing. Now, with the now we don't do reversals in Lenormand readings, but I just think this is interesting, because when you look at Titania's Clover, it looks like it's upside down, doesn't it? Because, you know, it's kind of, you know, hanging upside down. Well, actually, that's the way that I've done it. I've probably actually I've photographed it the wrong way up. But that's another way of telling you that you need, so whichever way you pull it, it's telling you to get in touch with your roots, all right? It's telling you perhaps to get, because there's actually very predominant 4 leaves on this Clover. It's telling you to get in touch with your roots, maybe in touch with 4 people, or go, if you're doing some ancestor work, you might need to go back 4 generations, all right? If you're looking at my particular Clover card, it's just full of Clover cards like that. So if you were searching for something, for instance, and you pull that card, it would suggest, yes, that you would find it, but it's going to be like finding a needle in a haystack. As for timing on this one, because this reason I chose this picture to represent the Clover, because I remember lying on the grass as I was a kid and just looking at them. I used to love looking at Clover. I never really looked for a 4-leaf Clover, even to get that lucky Clover, but I just used to like looking at all the patterns and the tiny little flowers that used to come up. So as a timing, because there's a few little tiny little dark patches in it, it could be on a day when it's cloudy. It could be any time of the day, because it's hard to tell, because it's just looking, you know, straight down at a Clover patch. So for that particular one, it's a little bit hard to pinpoint on a time, but it'll be a time of a day when there seems to be a few clouds. So depending where you're living and how your seasons are and things like that, that might actually point to a clue. If we're looking at Churro's Machete's one, I'd say afternoon, definitely midday, because, you know, the sky is bright, it's beautiful and blue. If you're looking at the Alban and Lenormand, I would say twilight, just when the sky, you know, the sun's setting, the sky is that type of orangey type of a colour. I'd say that would be it for the timing as well. And also, because there is an actual woman in this card, which you don't often get with the Clover, there could be a woman who will bring some luck to you or give you something, or there's something, you know, something to do with a woman who's going to help you with some type of luck. It could also represent yourself telling you that you make your own luck as well, not to rely on other people to make your luck, that you need to work hard at making your own luck. So that's a little bit of how you sort of read the Clover card. So as before, we'll give the old deck a shuffle, and we'll have a look at how the energy of the Clover card is affecting us today. So I'll just give it a little bit of a shuffle. That'll do, and we'll go through the cards and we'll see where the Clover comes up. It's like right at the back. Somewhere. Oh wow, it must be right at the back. Okay, well that's very interesting. Very, very interesting because it's the very first card. So the card that came before the Clover is the book. And then, but there's nothing that's come after the Clover. Nothing that has come after the Clover. So that suggests that this luck or something is yet unknown when we're not meant to know about it. So whatever lucky event or situation that we're thinking about or whatever the day brings. So I'm doing this reading right now at 9 o'clock in the morning because I'm waiting for my husband's pay to go in. So I thought I'd quickly shoot this video. So having the book of the unknown with the Clover is very interesting because there's nothing that comes after it. So we don't really know what is coming today, okay? So we don't know what type of luck or what type of energy that the Clover is actually going to bring today. That's really, really good. So now, we'll do the, what shall I do first? Let's pull the tarot card first. I'm going to use the Isabel Snail and then I'll do the who, what, when and where with this particular Clover card. So let's pull a one from the Isabel Snail. Absolutely adore this deck. It's absolutely gorgeous. And how's the Clover card affecting whatever tarot card I pull out? How is the Clover card going to affect that? All right. This is interesting. So this is the Eight of Swords. So can you see that? So of course it's, oh sorry, is the 8? Yeah, sometimes very far. So thorns are swords in this particular deck. And have you noticed how the snail has got a blindfold on? So we don't really know. So we might be feeling a little bit trapped in some way today. We've got some luck coming, but we don't really know what's going to happen. What is it that we need to release ourselves from? So the Clover is being very enigmatic today. Oh, God, I can't talk today. It's being very sly. We don't really know what's going to happen. Okay. So the Eight of Swords, very interesting. Eight of Thorns. What is it that we're going to be released from? You know, but it's blindfolded as well. So that's interesting. So now, you know what I'm going to do also? I am going to pull, because I can today, because it's the 27th and I wasn't allowed to do this until after the 28th. I'm going to pull one of these beautiful ratty runes by my gorgeous friend Nina Ryle from Shuffle Tarot. She has got this gorgeous deck. Let's have a look if the rune card is going to actually pull some light on this Clover card. Why not? Gorgeous deck this is. Oops. And it shuffles like a dream, like I can't tell you. It's absolutely gorgeous stock. I really like playing card stock, I have to say. The Isabel Snail is where I actually got that deck from. No, that's not the right one. Let's have a look. It's probably not going to tell us anything either. Let's have a, oh, here we go. His one's popped right up. Let's have a look. So we have got Algiz, protection, defense, and warding. Now this is very interesting because I said before, and I hope you can see that because they're very, very white. So it's got keywords on the bottom, just underneath my finger there, or above my finger. And I said before that when the Clover comes next to the card that represents the client, that they are being protected. So this is actually protecting. Now because we've got the Eight of Swords as well, so if you're putting these two together, it suggests that, you know, that we need to protect ourselves from something. But the Clover is there. So whatever it is, we're being protected. So whatever you're worried about today, we're being protected. So yeah, that was very interesting to have them come up. I find in the short time that I've actually had this particular deck, it really, really seems to make the other tarot card or whatever it is that you're using resonate really, really well. So for instance, right. So my card for the week was these two. So I got the Knight of Wands and Ewas. So this various vehicles for transportation, travel and movement. Duality. And then to have the actual Knight of Wands, which is riding a goose, come up with it, and couldn't get more different transport than that, can you? So they really seem to really highlight the other meaning of the card, if you know what I'm saying. So, but I mean, I probably will do a walkthrough of this deck and on how I've been using it and how I feel it. But right now, let's get stuck back to the Lenormand. So we've got the Clover card. Let's see if we can get any idea, because we only got the book today. We didn't get a third card come up. So the first one that you are asking is the Who. All right. So this is going to be for the message of the. All right. So the Who straight away. I have got the Moon. And then the next one is the What. Oh, that one come up straight away. The Road. Okay. The Where. That one come up. The Mountain. And finally, When. Oh, that one come up right away. And the Bear. Okay, so you know, the bear and the mountain together actually can mean someone who has lived overseas, who's coming from overseas. Now, if you're living in Australia, the various states, and of course too in America too, it could just be interstate as well, all right? So if we're looking at the Who with the Moon, it could be, now remember I said that the Clover can represent someone who is quite plump, happy. So the Who could be someone that you know who is on the plump side, all right? This Clover energy is coming for you, all right? So then we have got the What, which is the Road. So, of course, the road is always journeys, about going on a trip, changing directions and things of that nature. So this is kind of interesting because I'm actually going on a shopping trip today. So maybe I'll run into someone that's going to bring me some luck in some way. I don't know. The Where is the mountains. Now the mountains can represent obstacles, but it also can represent in some way some type of protection, because it is a solid, well, it's solid, isn't it? It's a solid rock, so something that's very solid. And then the Bear, as the When, it is another card that can be a very protective type of card as well. Now, sometimes it can represent your boss. It can represent, you know, the Bear for me is actually my husband. And funny enough, he is on a day trip as I speak, and he's going to be coming home tomorrow night. So I'm shooting this on the Thursday. So he's actually on a trip right now, on a road trip. It's only a short trip down south. And the Bear physically, and I'll go through that again when we come up to the Bear, but physically a bear can represent someone who's quite big, and I'm talking about like a bodybuilder type, which is exactly what my husband is. As for, he's a Kiwi, so he comes from New Zealand. And so the luck, not the luck, I should say. Who, what, when, and where. Yeah, the luck. Yes, I'm talking. Sorry, I'm thinking as I'm looking at the cards. So as for the Clover, now this is going to be weird. Now when he goes away, he always usually brings me home a crystal, and I'm just wondering if he's going to bring me some type of spear, because I've got this beautiful moon. So I'm just wondering. You know, he's on a road trip. He's with his actual boss as well. So him and his boss are doing it together. And I'm just wondering if that's the type of luck that I'm going to get, is that I'm actually he's going to bring me back a beautiful crystal, because he usually does, you know, he always brings me something, because he's just a beautiful man. I'm very, very lucky to be married to him, not just because he brings me things, but he's the best, simply the best. So, and then of course, and another meaning is that I could meet a couple in some way, that, you know, could be the day as well. I mean, I'm going shopping and I don't usually go out, but I could meet a couple that are larger than life, and, you know, you just never know, because don't forget, we got the book, didn't we? We got the book, so it's a little bit of an unknown area today. What's it coming to? Now, even though, actually I should have said that, because this came before the Clover, so it comes before the Clover. Can you see where the spine is? The spine, the closed part, is where the Clover is. If it happened to have been this way, it means that it would have been revealed. When it's an open book, something is, you know, you'll be able to find out quicker what's going on. But because the spine is to it, we don't know what's going to happen. So it's going to be kind of interesting. I'll upload this video, but I might add to it if I find out what actually happens, and with this Clover. But there you go. So that is the Clover card. So it's being very it's very hidden today. It's not going to let us know what's going on. But this is the gifts that I'm getting with that. I think that he may bring back a crystal. They're probably going to have a good being a business trip as well. There might be some type of offering that helps them business-wise as well. But yeah, this will be kind of interesting to see, because he's actually going to so he works in the mining industry, in that being that he sells pumps, all the pumps and stuff like that for mines. But he's actually going to a lithium mine today. And he did say to me last time he was there, they had all these lithium crystals in there. And I said, if you can get me a lithium crystal, get me one. So this will be kind of interesting to see. So anyway, I think I've raved on enough about the Clover card. But as you can see, it can be quite hidden about what's going on today, because we've got the book. It's always the Book of Unknown. It's interesting that the rune that come up is protection, because as I was saying, it can mean that you're being protected as well by something. And even by being protection, I can mean spiritually as well, that somebody is watching out for you. And because I think, the more I look at that Clover card, it reminds me of my beautiful cousin Nettie. It makes me think, that she's watching out for me in some way as well. So there you go. So I hope you've enjoyed it. And until next time, this is Tracy.